This is the Average Joe Strongman Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Lee. This is my brother from another mother, Mike. And this is the Average Joe Strongman Show.
Welcome. We got a good one tonight with a guy that we've both known for years. He is a warrior in the truest definition of the term. Former professional basketball player, found his way into strongman. He's a career educator. He's the head basketball coach, varsity basketball coach down at Blackhawk Christian. I believe it's Blackhawk Christian Academy in Indiana. Also a health and PE teacher, all around great dude, family man. I think he has like 6-7 kids, but he and I have battled it out at least once, maybe twice over the years. So without further ado, Mr. Marc Davidson, everybody.
Here we go. There he is, Marc Davidson.
It's good to see you guys.
How's it going?
Likewise, man.
Yeah,
likewise. So we always kind of just get right to it. You were a badass basketball player your whole life, right? Before you were a badass strongman, Marc. But give us and give our audience a little bit of an idea of, what your background was prior to strongman.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. I've really enjoyed watching the show. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Absolutely appreciate it.
And a lot of fun to watch. So I'm really thankful to be a part of it. And, I grew up in the middle of the cornfields outside of Minooka, Illinois. And
awesome.
Different era, man. I ain't that old, but, when I grew up, it was a different era. We just didn't have a whole lot of stuff to do, especially being in the country. And, we played sports because that was about all there was to do. And so, I played basketball and baseball ever since I can remember. And, initially loved baseball a little bit more, but somewhere along the line, I just got hooked on basketball and, played collegiately at the University of Illinois, which was kind of my lifelong dream.
Nice.
And ended up playing professionally. And I had some NBA tryouts. This was in 1995. And then they had a lockout that occurred in 1995. They shut everything down. And so we ended up going to Europe, and my wife was with me the entire time. And so I started playing professionally in France in 1995, and I retired in 2006, and just had a great experience being in Europe. And my wife and I have been blessed with 7 children, and 4 of them were born in France. We had an unbelievable experience there. And, I always said I want to keep playing until they got to drag me off the court. And that's almost how it ended, but not quite.
That's almost how it ended. Awesome. So Marc, how long have you been competing in strongman? When did you actually start?
I started probably about the same time as you. 2013 was my first show, October of 2013. And, I retired from playing in 06. I love to compete, man. I just think competing is fun. And, when I quit playing, I quickly realized I started coaching right away, but coaching for me was not the same thing. It didn't scratch that.
Scratch the itch, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I got to do something, man. And I had a kid that I coached who was an avid lifter, and he actually got into strongman. He competed a couple of times, and he was like, Coach, you got to try this, man. And so he kind of just, got me started a little bit. I did my first show. It was the Quad City Strongman. I think it was TJ Carr that ran it over in Iowa.
Okay.
And I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, I had no equipment. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I had never touched a log. It was a log. There was a log press. I'd never touched a log before. They had Atlas stones. I had never even seen an Atlas stone, let alone hoisted one of those bad boys.
Yeah.
But, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was going to love this. I mean, I was apparent immediately. Like I was hooked, man. And
I think for a lot of people that happens, right? As soon as you try it, it's like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yep. And yeah, so that's kind of where it got started for me.
Is that kid, that former student athlete of yours, is he still doing strongman?
You know what? He went to the dark side. He started doing some CrossFit, which
Oh no.
Oh no, Mark, how can you let that happen?
I know. Right?
No.
I tried to talk him out of it, but what can you do?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you talk about your basketball career ending and then finding your way to strongman to fill kind of that void of having that competitive fire but no outlet. I've talked time and time again to people about how many kids out there playing high school basketball, football, whatever sport, right? Or college, right? I mean, how many college players play at the Division 3 or 2 level? I mean, not even Division 1, but like they're not going to go to the NFL, right? And they've still got that yearning to do something to throw down. And strongman is a great outlet for anybody who's a gym rat, loves to lift and get stronger, and is looking for something. So any of you kids out there that are watching by chance,
Yeah, for sure.
give it a try, right?
Absolutely.
And we've talked before on the show with a couple of our guests about kind of the transfer benefit from other sports into strongman. We talked to Davey McCann about football, Ken also, I think, McClellan. But talk a little bit about basketball specifically, Mark. How do you feel like maybe your experience as an athlete, as a basketball player, helped you in strongman?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that from a physical standpoint, jumping, I mean, I've been jumping my whole life. I started dunking a basketball when I was 13 years old, and I've always been jumping. And, I think there is a transfer there when you're doing a push press or things of that nature, just developing that explosive power.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, probably a bigger benefit is mentally. I love game days, man. I'm 48 years old, and I've been having game days since I was 8 years old playing Little League baseball.
Yeah.
And game days to me, it's just a special thing, man. You can hardly sleep, and it's all you can think about all day long. And I think mentally to kind of know how to prepare myself for a competition, I think that was definitely helpful.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, the carryover there is immediate. I 100% agree with you. Game day is always that. Every time in all the competitions I did, every time you get them butterflies right before that first event, right? And you just cannot match that feeling with anything else, right?
That's right.
You're going up against the whistle and it's time to go.
If you ain't feeling butterflies, you ought to be in another sport, man.
That's right. Yeah, for sure.
Every time.
Absolutely. So, Mark, do you train out of a gym or do you train at home?
I train, I'm here at Blackhawk Christian now where I teach, and we've got a weight room here that, we got enough that I can get by. So most of my workouts I do here by myself. And, I really have come to enjoy that. I think solitude is important. For me, it's hard to come by. And so that time alone in the weight room has been great. Now I also go out to Indiana Strong Gym in Huntington.
Yeah.
Christina Bangma, you guys, I'm sure know Christina and Aaron that run the place. Great people.
Yep.
And a lot of times on a Saturday morning, I'll go out there. We'll do some events, and my buddy Jess, who was just down at OSG, Jess Reeve, who's strong as a bull. I love training with Jess out there, and I've learned a heck of a lot just listening to somebody like Jess. And so, yeah, Indiana Strong would be considered my home gym.
That's
okay.
Awesome.
So when you need stones or a frame or farmers, that's where you go.
Yep.
Okay. And you talked a little bit already about your first strongman competition. When you think back on the years that you've been competing since 2013, is there any one that stands out to you as being maybe your favorite?
That's tough, man. Honestly, they're all so much fun.
Yeah. Or okay, let me different question. If when you look back, is there one you wish you could have a do-over and be like, man, I really messed up. I wish I could do that one again.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of those.
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, we've all got them for sure.
Always, you're always kicking yourself and saying I could have done this or should have done that, but
maybe that one up in Chicago when you and I met in that tire flip, I beat you by like a tenth of a second.
You had to bring that up.
The one time I beat you at anything, man. I mean, it's like in my long and very average career, like that's one of my highlights. Is I could say I beat Marc Davidson in an event, and
I ain't forgot that.
I mean, you and I both know a tenth of a second. That's like a judge's like just a slow finger. That's not.
You got me. That's one of the things I love about Strongman, Noah. Is, it's the camaraderie that you have with
for sure
the other competitors. You beat me one time, I may get you another time. Lee, you may get me one time, and it's something where you're actually cheering on the person you're going against, because if they do well, they're going to bring out the best in you.
100%.
Yep, for sure.
I just love that aspect of it. I had never done an individual sport in my life. I've been in team sports my whole life. And team sports, there are so many variables. I mean, you can look at a teammate, you can look at your coach, you can look at a ref. And I feel like there's something very honest about the sport of strongman. It's like there's the weight. You move it or you don't move it,
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I just think that dynamic from an individual sport, I just really come to enjoy that.
Well, I can guarantee you this: if you ever went head to head with Lee in a dance contest, you would win because he's awful. So.
Whatever. It's your story. You tell it how you want.
Hey, listen, man, I won fair and square.
Yeah, okay. You and Vaccio, between the two of you, I swear. But no, I think it's a valuable point, Mark. There, and I think about, and we've talked about this a few times, but with strongman being an individual sport, one of the things that I look back, I wrestled when I was in high school and when I was in the Army, and I think about that. Wrestling is a team sport, yet it's an individual sport. When you're out there on the mat, it's just you and the other guy, right? So that was a carryover for me to strongman, that you have to not only be part of the team and support the team, but you also have to be mentally prepared enough to go out there and do what you need to do.
Right.
And I think because I think that, when I played football, track, all that other stuff, through the years, you're always on a team and you seem like you have a pretty good team bond. But, if I look back at all the team sports, I think I had the tightest bonds, and I still have the most friends still from high school and from the wrestling team. We were just that much closer, right? And I think that sparks what you see in strongman, right? It's an individual sport. You're out there fighting the weight. Yeah, we're all competing against each other, and they're going to score points at the end. But ultimately, you're going to cheer each other on because you're trying to battle the beast. It's the steel. It's not the guy next to you, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's
interesting.
exactly right.
One thing I'll point out that you said you started in 2013, right, Mark?
Yep.
So if you're 48, you started as a master's athlete, right, at 40?
I did. My first show was as a master. Yep.
So same with Lee, same with me. We all started when we were older. And I think when you talk about that camaraderie and that brotherhood, it exists, I think, from novice on up. But there's something special about us old guys, right? Because we're just all happy to be able to still be doing it.
That's right. It's almost you feel sorry for these other guys, like, oh, you're out here doing this too? Yeah, okay. Let's all get together.
And you talk about the butterflies, right? I mean, again, we all get them. We all get those nerves on game day. But I remember, talking with Chris and probably you too, Lee, about just like, you see some of these younger guys looking at us sitting over in the corner in the shade, like, why aren't you guys warming up? Why aren't you guys getting all, raged up? It's like, dude, why waste the energy, man?
That's right.
We're just waiting for beer o'clock. It's not.
That's right. Saving it for beer and chicken wings. You got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, hey, let's take our intermission. We're about halfway through, and then we'll come back.
All right, 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
Hey, Marc, do you have a favorite event?
I like pretty much all the moving events. I mean, anything I get to pick up and carry, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Sandbag carries, Husa carries, farmers
Yeah.
carries, frame carries, anything like that. I like. Those are that's kind of my wheelhouse.
I would agree. Yeah, and I think again, you're tall and you're big. Your body type kind of lends itself towards that. That and stones, right?
Right. Yep.
Versus deadlift, which is like big
I
tall
think
guys in deadlift.
I think you both are totally out of your goddamn minds. Moving events, really? No. Static events, thank you very much. No. I don't even know how the hell we're all friends because I am totally the opposite. I am totally the opposite. Yeah.
All right, next
Good
question.
on you both. Good on you both. It's too much like cardio for me, though. So,
Right.
Yeah. That's why
so Marc, you're a high school. So, Marc, you're a high school teacher and a coach. How's that been balancing strongman life, kids, family, all that?
7
stuff?
kids, man.
Yeah, 7 kids.
Right.
Full-time job as a teacher, as a coach. I mean, how's that go balancing all that? How do you work that out?
That's a challenge. That is a challenge, and we've got two of our kids are married, the oldest two, and then the next 2 are both in college, and then we got a junior in high school. Then we have twins who are in 5th grade.
Okay.
And so, we still got 4 under our roof. And so, I want to be as involved in their lives as I possibly can be. I certainly don't want to neglect my wife, who is a saint. I mean, I'm married way out of my leagues. And, I think if you have the support of your spouse, man, I think that's so important. My wife knows me. She kind of knows what makes me tick, and she understands how important training is for me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've tried to do is not take like the prime hours of the day for training.
Sure.
And I'll usually go early mornings. I'll get in there and I'll get to school early and get my work in. And that way, now during basketball season, it's a challenge because high school basketball in Indiana is nuts. I mean, it's a wild schedule, and so
All consuming. Yeah.
Between my games, my sons in college both play. I like to see their games. My 5th grader's playing. Like to see his games. I like to scout all of our opponents, get out and see them, and so it's just a lot of time. So, kind of what I've done is I've trained year round, and then I typically compete, during the basketball off season when I've got some more time on my hands to get that done. But my wife has been super supportive. I think that's made a huge difference, and that's obviously, I think, an important piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we all have that. I mean, Lee, myself, right? So it's great to hear that your wife is supportive. How about your kids, though? How supportive? How involved? How interested have they been?
Yeah, they're they were all basketball players, and that's not something that we forced on them. They just kind of grew up with it,
Yeah.
And so, I've got actually 2 nephews that have competed with me, and they're all about it. I think those guys, have a chance to do some things in strongman. And,
Luke and Joey. I know Luke and Joey.
Luke and Joey. Yep. Yeah, they're good dudes. They get after it. And, I'd say probably one of my kids has a chance, one day to do something. He's got kind of the physical build, but you never know. I mean, you put the work in, and anybody can see results. So
sure.
Who knows? I'd be thrilled if they did it someday.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
Yeah, it's one thing I found out too, especially with the kids, right? And my son, he supports it, has really no interest in it as far as doing it himself. My twin daughters, they both tried it. Jordan latched right onto it and took off with it, and Cam was like, you know what? No, I'd rather play volleyball and sing in the choir. So it's like, hey, whatever makes you happy, right? So
that's right.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you just answered the question I was going to ask. So you think your one son is actually maybe interested in it? Has he shown interest already? I mean, your kids all come. Do they come and watch you compete? And
yeah, they like to come out whenever they can. But my one son, who I think might go down that route, is playing college basketball right now. And they're training all the time. Obviously, not at the intensity that we would train, but I think he's got the build where he could fill out, and I could see him moving some weight someday. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Well, as masters, we've all dealt with injuries from time to time, right? We've talked with some of our guests previously about their struggles, their battles with injury. Right now, though, you are pretty much in the fight of your life, right? I don't know if you care to or how much you care to talk about kind of what's going on with you, but at the beginning here in the intro, I talked about you being a warrior, and there's no better word for me to use to describe sort of what you're going through now, man. You're just you're fighting. So do you care to talk about what's been going on?
Yeah, I got diagnosed just over a year ago, and I had a large tumor on my right kidney, and so they went in and took out the tumor. They took out the kidney as well.
Yeah.
They did the pathology, and they told me, like, what you got is extremely rare. Like, nobody has this stuff. There's no studies done on it. There's no research. So they said, we don't know of any treatment. And so they said, we're going to do regular scans.
Sure.
And hope it don't come back.
Yeah.
And well, a few months later, it had spread to my lungs. This stuff is, unfortunately, not only is it very rare, it's also very aggressive.
Yeah.
So it went to the lungs, and then my most recent PET scan, I got a large tumor just above the bladder, which sucks because I got to go pee all the time. And I've got a spot, I guess now it's spread to the bones. So this is some nasty stuff.
What's amazing to me, Mark, I know we talked last spring, you had been through a round of treatment, and then was it last May you actually competed with Joey and Luke?
I competed with them, and I competed, Brian, who was it, man? Fascio was there. It was a show up in Detroit that Fascio and I did together. That was my first one back after surgery. That was in April. And I was surprised how quickly I came back. I mean, my first few trips to the weight room post-surgery felt horrible. But, you just stuck with it. And honestly, I think having that, because when I signed up for that contest, I think people around me were like, dude, what are you doing, man? You ain't going to be ready by then.
Yeah.
But I think I needed that just because that was just great incentive.
Keeps you going, man. Yeah.
Sure. You know that when you got a contest on the horizon, that just kind of naturally ramps up your training. And so, I think that was definitely helpful. I actually competed again August the 14th over in Ohio. And then, it was August 31st, we got those scan results. Yeah. That's when things kind of started to spiral downwards a little bit. But
I don't want to hear anybody ever make excuses when I know a guy like you who is fighting as hard as you're fighting and still training and getting it done and competing. I mean, that's amazing, man. I mean, good for you.
I'm still getting into the weight room, and you guys know me. I'm a man of faith, so I can't take credit for the fighting that I'm doing. Is there's the verse in the Bible that says, "When we are weak, we are strong."
Sure.
Because we press into the Lord's strength, and the Lord continues to fill me with strength in just ways that I can't even explain. I mean, if I was running on my own strength, I would have run out of gas a long time ago. But He keeps filling me with strength. I'm still getting into the weight room. I mean, I've lost some pretty significant weight. A year ago I was about 310, and I'm down about 240. 70 pounds. I was just telling somebody that's like a whole daggone Backstreet Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm still feeling good, and they just started me on a couple new medications.
Okay.
So we're praying that stuff starts chipping away at this crap, and we start moving in the right direction.
Man, I've been thinking about you. I think about you. I don't want to bother you. I don't want to text you every day, right? But I mean, I reach out every now and then because I love you. I care about you, and I hope you can beat this thing. And I just wish you the best with all that, man. Good for you.
Well, and I would tell you this, that's something about the strongman community. Like, there's hardly a day goes by that I'm not getting a text from somebody or a phone call or a Facebook message.
Yeah.
And that stuff means a lot, man. When you're in a fight.
Yeah.
You got people that are in your corner with you.
Yep.
Makes a huge difference, man. So
gives you strength. Yeah.
Always appreciate that support.
Yep.
So, Mark, just kind of stemming off of that, I mean, thinking about where you're at right now and what's going on and what you're training for and fighting this thing, what can we do? Is there anything we can do to help at this point right now? I mean, what can we do to help?
I mean, just the text messages means a ton, man. It means like it's never a bother. That just means a whole bunch when people reach out and just knowing that people care. That means a ton to me, man. And for the people of faith that are people of prayer, I would covet your prayers. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe God has the power to heal me, and that's what we continue to pray for.
That's
absolutely
easy enough for us to do.
Yep.
Well, when you look back again on your career in strongman, right? Let's say somebody's just starting out, a novice athlete, or somebody who's thinking about, getting involved in strongman. What's the best piece of advice you would give to somebody who's thinking about going down that road?
I think I would tell them,
don't do it.
Are you crazy? What are you doing?
You got to be half crazy to do it.
Yeah,
first of all.
sure.
Hands down.
But if they decided they want to do it, I think I would tell them this is a process. I would tell them, don't expect too much too soon.
Yeah.
I think people who really learn to embrace that process of training and pushing their bodies to the limits, and seeing those small gains, I think those are the kind of people that are going to make it in strongman. And I think if you get hung up on, making money or going to this show and doing this or doing that, like you're never going to get rich in strongman, and it's going to be a grind.
Yeah.
I think back to when I started, I had no clue what I was doing about anything. And I'm so thankful. So many people that just came alongside me and, just little conversations here and there. You're talking at a show or you're talking during training and you're picking up tips here and there. And, you just pick up so much along the way.
Yeah.
But I think, when you can embrace that grind and you can embrace that process and understand this ain't going to happen overnight. This is going to take tons of work. My dad always said, hard work pays off. And I think in today's generation, it's harder to convince people of that. I think there are
100%.
less and less people who
100%.
believe that. But hard work pays off. Like if you're gonna work in the sport of strongman, you're gonna get stronger and you're gonna get better. You're gonna see results. And I think the guys who really learn to embrace that, they got the best chance of lasting in it.
Yep, for sure.
100% consistency and patience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Actually, one of the guys that trains at my gym, he just recently moved, but one of the things that he said, we were talking one day in the gym, and it was just not too long ago, a couple months ago, right before the August comp, and we had a couple new guys come in, and he just kind of said the same thing, but he said, you have to learn to fall in love with the grind. He says, if you can't fall in love with the grind, he says, you're not going to be in the sport very long, which is true. I mean, if you, like you said, Mark, I mean, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And God knows for the masters guys, it's kind of both, because you gotta grind to compete, but you also got to hurry up because your time is limited as how long you're going to be in the sport, which we're all figuring out painfully now. But you got to fall in love with the grind for sure.
No doubt about it.
Well, that's, I think, all we had. But Mark, thank you so much for joining us, being a part of this, and helping tell your story and share some of your experience. It's why we're doing this, right? To kind of help educate the next generation, or hell, even other masters, right? I mean, let's share what we can, knowledge and experience from guys that have been in it for a while. So thank you.
Yeah, and we could go on for hours, so that just means we got to have you back to drill you with some more questions, right? So, for sure.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. You guys do
absolutely.
It's great seeing you guys, and hopefully we will rub shoulders at a competition here in the not too distant future.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Yep. All right, Mark, thanks for joining us. Till next time, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.